For Canada to have a gun license, you have to have a gun club that you're a part of or a range that you're a member of, right? You have to have your PAL, your RPAL if you want to own anything that's got some real firepower or kick behind it. And you got to have like your ammo, gun separate. Guns have to be locked, have a trigger lock on them, ammunition.
That's ridiculous.
Like what? Do you guys have any of that comparable?
Yes.
Here?
Depends where.
We have
Depends where,
we have a handful of states that people refer to as the Evil Seven.
The
But-
evil
Yeah,
seven.
he's right.
Yeah, and when I lived in New Jersey, we had some security, concerns, and this is before I bought a gun. So I decided, I need to get a gun. Well, the cops told me. Well, I was told by a cop, if it were me, I'd answer the door with a shotgun. That's all. He didn't say go buy a gun. He was like, you know what I'm saying, and I'm like, okay. And then I was told by the police, if someone were to try to break into my home, I can do nothing. If someone is actively at my door, smashing out the window and reaching in to open the door, I cannot take action against that person.
It's like Canada.
Because it would be murder. Now, if he breaks into your home, now it's a different story. Because if he breaks into your home, you are legally required to flee your home, and you still can't defend
It's
yourself.
just like Canada.
Yeah.
And I said, where would I go? I'm in my house. This is where I live.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
what I was told was, when you tell that to a judge, you are saying in court, I would rather kill a man than stand outside. And that's the way the court will interpret what you are saying.
insane.
And that is considered unreasonable. And they said, only if you are trapped. And I said, so if I'm backed into a corner with no doors and a guy in front of me, I can shoot him then. And what if he dies? Say, okay, that's the best part. You will now have an affirmative defense after we arrest you and charge you with a felony.
Yeah.
And you spend 6 months in prison. You can tell a judge you were trapped. Hopefully he believes you. And I was like, holy crap. Maryland's a little better. If you are outside your house watering your lawn and a guy comes up to you threatening you, you must run into your house. If the man then tries to break into your house, what I am told by law enforcement, you can then defend yourself. So actually, to a much greater degree than New Jersey, but West Virginia by far is substantially better. West Virginia, you can be on any property, whether you're indoors or outdoors, and if you are threatened, you can defend yourself. You can't just shoot anybody. This is not true. Like someone walks on your property, you're like, aha, he's coming right for me. But if you are threatened and you can justify the threat, Florida's even crazier, and Texas too. Stand your ground. Very little probable cause. You could be anywhere legally.
Yeah.
West Virginia also, it is still very similar. If you're in West Virginia, you are constitutional carry. You're walking around, someone threatens you, and you have reasonable fear of great bodily harm or death. You can defend yourself.
Dude, I was in Florida like 3 weeks ago for like 3 weeks, and I was feeling that the concealed carry thing. I was walking around like at night and looking at people, and I'm like, they all probably have guns. Just to see everyone's
Except
got a gun,
me.
and they're all looking at me and thinking he's probably got a gun, and we all just have massive respect for each other.
It's called herd immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are in a place where you can legally carry a gun, I mean, essentially you are kind of rolling the dice. Like, that person may have a gun. Do I really want? Is the fact that he bumped into me or looked at me wrong, is it worth making a comment over? Because maybe it escalates to something very bad. And if you're carrying a gun, you definitely you have to know that you can't just be like, oh, that guy's giving me a dirty look, so I'm just going to mean mug him all night long, because you're responsible for de-escalating. These are things that you have
He
to
might
understand.
have a gun too.
Exactly.
One thing that always bothered me growing up in Chicago is that I had friends who would road rage. And I'd be like, people who weren't from the South Side who didn't get it, I guess. And they'd either come from different neighborhoods or from the suburbs. We'd be driving on the highway, someone would cut them off, and they'd switch lanes, speed up and start flicking them off and screaming at them. And I'm like, bro, do you know how many stories I can tell you about a dude getting shot in the face because he decided to road rage out for no reason? I'm not saying that, you've got to back down. I'm saying choose your battles. You ain't gaining nothing by screaming at a dude on the highway and swerving around. If someone cuts you off, choose your battles. Just, it happens, man. Don't get bent out of shape. But dude, some people I knew would rage out. And there's so many stories where there's dudes with illegal guns. Now, I actually don't think the guns should be illegal, to be completely honest. People who have acquired guns in ways the state does not like, but you have a right to keep and bear arms. That being said, they acquire these guns in illegal ways, and that means they do not have good intentions. And you can't defend yourself from them because you can't have a gun. Now, because of DC versus Heller, you can have guns, but they still make it near impossible